Hello, everyone. My name is Sharona Summer, and I'm the CIP National Director of Learning and Development. I'm here today to provide you with a few tips to help build more positive communication with your young adults. What you see here are two cartoons that portray very different communication styles. Take a moment to look them over. I have to say, I've been known to go a bit overboard with my son when he's finally ready to talk to me about something. Having two young adults that are quite private has taught me that although I feel comfortable being an open book, my son's not so much. It's led to a few awkward and uncomfortable moments, not to mention my own doubts about not knowing how to best communicate with my kids. I hope that this short video provides some guidance so that you can continue to build upon the positive communication you have with your emerging young adult. Before we go over a few tips, let's review the foundation of communication. When we speak, we transmit verbal and nonverbal messages to the receiver. As the sender, we know what the meaning is behind our message, and we know our intent. That is our reality. On the other side, we have the receiver. They're hearing and seeing our messages, but they may not know what our intent is or the meaning behind what we're saying. They have their own perception of what we're saying, and that is their reality. You can see how this can lead to misunderstandings and conflict if we don't have the communication skills to dig a bit deeper. Let's get started. As I go through, I will use a few situations that are common with young adults being away from home and on their own as they assert their independence. Number 1, change you statements into I statements. Instead of, "You never call me," try, "I need to hear from you at least once a week, or I get worried." Or, "I get really frustrated when you don't answer my text or respond to my phone calls." Here are some iMessage sentence starters to help you out. I want, I feel hurt when you don't call me. I would appreciate it if you can call me at least once a week. I think that maybe you don't care about me if you're not calling me. I need you to call me. I expect you to call me at least once a week. I wish that we could have a better relationship and talk about things more often. I understood you to say that you get frustrated when I nag you. I thought you said that we could talk once a week, but yet you're not returning my calls. It was my understanding that we were going to speak every Sunday at 6. I guess I misheard. Please clarify for me so I understand what the expectation is. I would like it very much if we can speak every Sunday at 6. Focus on the solution. Instead of, "You spent all your money already," say, "How can we work to figure this out together?" Or, "Who can you ask to assist you?" Turn can'ts into cans. Instead of, "We can't send you more money so soon," say, "We're able to send you money at the end of the month." Take responsibility. Instead of saying, "It's not my fault you spent all your money," say, "Here's what we can do to help." It puts them less on the defensive and shows how we're solution-oriented and we're there to help and support them. Say what you mean. Instead of, "Don't forget to call me," say, "Please call me every Sunday." Focus on the future, not the past. So instead of saying, "I've told you this 100 times before," say, "From now on, please reply to my texts." Share information rather than argue or accuse. Instead of, "No, you're wrong. You said that you would call me Sunday at 6. Say, "Here's my perspective on it. I heard you say that you were going to call me Sunday at 6. Maybe I misunderstood, but let's talk about what we can do now." Here are some general listening strategies that you can apply in person, by phone, and virtual. Focus on the person talking. Make sure you're not distracted, that you have time to really focus on speaking to your student. Be open-minded and non-defensive. Sometimes we get triggered by what our kids say to us, and we really have to work very hard at being as non-defensive as possible because we don't want to escalate the situation. Do not interrupt. We have to give our students time to speak, no matter how long it takes them. If they are taking a bit too long, maybe ask them if, some type of leading question to see if you can help them along. Be curious. It's really important to ask what your student has been doing throughout the day, if they met anybody new, what's been the highlight of the day. It's really nice to ask those types of questions to show that you're curious about what happens throughout the day. But it's very important not to ask too many questions, as you probably already know. Be patient for the message to be delivered. Sometimes it really takes a long time for our students to process and to express what it is that they want to say. So just be patient and give them time to get the message across. Avoid judgment. Now that our students are away and they're living on their own, sometimes for the first time, they're going to try different things. They may not always have the best judgment themselves, but we have to try very hard to show the judgment that we have on that, and what, if we're disappointed or upset, there are ways to express what we want to say without having judgment attached to that. And remembering to use those I statements. Don't change the subject. So I know that I've seen this a lot with my own two young adults, is that if I'm talking about a subject that's uncomfortable for them, they'll probably change the subject for us. So, that's okay. We can follow the lead among, for them. But the problem is that sometimes we need to really focus on what we want to say. And if we need to change the subject, then maybe just allowing another time to talk about it. So if it's difficult, then just say, maybe now's not the best time. Let's set time aside to talk about that another time. Respond appropriately. So making sure that our tone is even keel, that we're not reacting too emotionally, and that we're not defensive, and that we're really trying to focus on the student and avoiding that judgment. Now, with all the Zoom calls that we're doing right now, or FaceTime, you have to really pay attention to your body language. We can read each other pretty well. I know that myself, if my young adult is lying on the couch and looking disinterested and not really paying attention, then that's going to give me a message that they don't want to talk to me. So same with us. If we're distracted and we're trying to do 3 things at once, which we usually do, our students are going to feel that maybe we're not paying attention to them, or that they're not important at that moment. So take the time, and if you don't have enough time to really, for that call, it's okay to say, I don't have a lot of time right now, but let's have another call, maybe tomorrow or the next day, where I'll have more time to really focus on the phone call that we're having right now. And paying attention to that body language so that your student doesn't feel like you're too distracted, and also if your student's distracted, letting them know that you're noticing that with the I statement, and paying attention to that body language. So I want to thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy that you were here. Hopefully there's some tips that you can take with you today. I would like to leave you with a few quotes. The word listen actually contains the same letters as the word silent. Stephen Covey wrote, "Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply." And finally, I'd like to leave you with what we always like to say is think positive. So thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time.